Hello everybody, my name is Darkilo. So the thing I want to talk about today is solar power. Now the example I'm going to use is up here in space. So for example, you want to build a little mining base or you have a mobile station that you want to mine these asteroids. But at the same time, you want to use solar power. The thing is, I play on servers where no script is allowed. There are some very good scripts out there, for example, Easy Solar Power script, Solar Tracking script, which will help you track the sun. But let's talk today about what I do if I'm trying to track the sun on a scriptless server. So first thing I'm trying to figure out is which direction is the sun moving, or at the same time, am I horizontal to it? From my perspective, it's moving left to right, and it does look like I'm in line with it. You might have built a base already, or you're starting from scratch like I'm doing here. For my first step, I'm going to try and see that I'm lining up my block in line with the sun's travel. So let's make sure that looks about right. So I'm building a base, and to make sure that I'm pretty centered, I'm going to do a 3x3 block. Of course, the reason you are building a solar tower is to charge your batteries. Next step, I'm going to put a rotor, standard rotor in the center of my base, and a control seat. Now you can work from the control panels from the battery, but I want to use the seat's control to do the following. I want to name my base. Let's say this is a mining base, and secondly, I want to convert it to a station. So you don't have to be a station, but as the rotor is going to be moving, it is going to influence, going to transfer forces to your base, and it's going to start spinning your base also. Usually I do about 5 blocks high for a tower. There's no upper limit. You can build as big as your server limits allows, but what I'm going to do here is a simple 3x3 tower, or you can do a 6x6, just to make it also look neat. I'm just going to line up my panels. The base is facing inwards and about on the same line on the main block. Okay, so I have a tower. Now as you can see, the sun is moving, which means that later in the day the sun is going to be over there, and my solar panel is not going to be receiving sunlight anymore to the utmost. We want 4 bars from the solar panel to show it's getting the maximum amount of sunlight it can. So I'm going to go to my hotbar 2. So you can see here I've got a landing gear, another blocks again, a sensor, a gyro, and a solar panel. Now, a few times people have asked me if this sensor is how I'm tracking the sun. No, it's just to use up the sun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a small grid landing pad. Now, my suggestion is if you're doing this for the first few times, a small grid flyer spaceship will make it a tad easier for you. I'm going to try and center this to the middle of the block, place it, and then I'm just going to make sure I seat it nicely. So hopefully I'm going to hit it right. Let's see. That looks good. So usually I do about a 4 to 5 block tower. I'm going to put my solar panel on the opposite side. So I want my solar panel, well, again, just to make it look neat, let's spin it around. I want my solar panel to be facing the sun, perpendicular to my main solar panels, so at a 90-degree angle. On top of my solar tracker, I'm going to be putting a gyro and the sensor. Well, the main reason I'm going to use a sensor is A, it gives me an interface so that I can work on my gyros and control panel. And secondly, I very specifically want to use a device that is going to pull power. Not too much and not too little. The sensor is a good level power user. So gyroscope, I'm going to put it on override. Now let me first look at this. Now it's on override. If I'm looking at the sun from the tracker's perspective, and it is going from left to right, then I want a positive override. If it's moving from right to left, I want a negative override. So as it's in space, there's no specific up and down. What I do is I orientate my solar tracker according to which direction the sunlight is moving relative to my base. Second thing, you can see it's on override, but it is not moving. Let's go down to our control seat again. In the seat, I'm going to go to my rotor. Just going to name it so to keep things neat and nice. This is my solar tower, and relative to my base, it's an up tower. Go down to torque. Now torque is slowing down the movement of my rotor. From here, I do want to change it to 10,000, and you can play around with 10,000 to 15,000 depending on your base size. As you can see, immediately we've got movement on the right hand side. The tower is moving. And as you can see, I lost power because the solar tracker's solar panel is pointed at the sun. As the sun is going to be moving to the right, it's going to drop power, catch light on the solar power, which is going to power the gyro. At the moment, this sensor is trying to take 3 kilowatts of power. My solar panel is just producing power, and the gyroscope is going to start turning. So sensor takes enough power that the gyro loses power when the solar panel is facing straight to the sun. So what's the benefits of this system? It's independent of the sim speed. As you can see, it is as the server is running, the sun is going to activate the gyro independent of sim speed, independent of anything else that is happening around it. So this is a very good system to make sure that you get the solar tracker going, and your sensor, you can set it up to do something, but you don't have to. Actually, you could even have it as minimum, because the only reason we're putting the sensor on this solar tracker is to use up the last little bit of power. If you got something that is too high power usage, the the gyro will never switch on. Alright, so I also wanted as a subgrid to make sure that when the solar panels are producing power, it's not supplying power to the gyro. This has to be a subgrid that's running independently, only going to be taking power from the solar panel. So this is my first step on starting a little mining base, and let's have a quick look here. At the moment my solar panels is producing current input. So each of my solar panels is doing 100, 160, 170, 160 kilowatts, while it is going to be facing my solar panel, the sun. So I hope that was useful for everybody. If you have any suggestions, comments, feel free to put it down in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.